Parts of KZN look like the scene from an apocalyptic movie at the moment, especially after these devastating floods. Homes, roads, businesses and vehicles have been ravaged. That's not even to talk about, of course, the loss of life. But there is insurance questions to ask. So when it comes to claiming from insurance following a natural disaster like this, what do we actually do? Well, let's find out from Am I Sure CEO Christelle Colman joining us this morning. Christelle, good to have you with us on the show. Obviously devastating news, but once the flood waters have receded, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of people who want to claim for the damages. The question is, when it comes to natural disasters, Christelle, good morning, can you claim damage from a natural disaster?
Morning, Gareth. I think, first of all, just the loss of life. Those people are in our thoughts. And then as far as insurance is concerned, for those people who actually have insurance, our insurance industry in South Africa is quite resilient and responsive. Over the past few years, we've seen some big natural disasters. We think about of course, the unrest in July last year, which wasn't a natural disaster, but we had a big response there. And then the fires in Knysna a few years ago, and big flood incidents over the years. But this incident seemed to be on quite a dramatic scale, and we don't even know the scope of it yet, and how big the claims and the losses are. So we will see that unfold over the next few days.
So is it claimable? Is there someone watching now that they are able to claim and say, look, my house got flooded, the floors are destroyed, or at the worst case scenario, my house slid down a cliff, which is what we've seen?
Right. So your very basic covers for insurance is fire and flood. So if you have insurance in place, you would have flood insurance in place, and your insurance policy should respond, obviously assuming that your premiums are paid and all those sort of things. But the insurance industry is definitely readying itself to move in and to go and help rebuild those insured properties. And it's not just insuring the property itself, but obviously the contents. And Gareth, how many cars have we seen floating down the roads? So motor insurance. On the commercial side, those big factories, the contents, the containers, again, floating down the river. So those you would assume businesses and most of the private homes, the more expensive private homes would typically be insured. Of course, we know that with the informal settlements and the lower end of the markets, people don't have insurance. And that's where a big concern lies, is how do we get those people back on their feet and back to living again.
No, absolutely. When it comes to an area like KZN, which now seems to, in the last year, we've had the July riots there last year, and now the flooding, Christelle, just a brief final answer from you, if you don't mind. Do we generally see premiums going up in a certain province because it's more danger prone? Is that something that they would look at?
Well, separately, we would look at the flood risk separately, and typically we've seen an increase in frequency and severity of flood claims in KZN, and over time to come, it might become more expensive, and it could even become uninsurable, because that's what happened in other parts of the world. So this is a serious situation, and as I say, we'll see how all of this unfolds over the years to come.
And that's the discussion we'll have next time we talk. Christelle, thank you very much indeed. Christelle Colman, Am I Sure CEO. So at least good news that if you are insured, it generally seems, Tumza, that most insurances at a basic level will have fire and flood damage as well. The question, though, that I was asking is, this is beyond what anybody could normally imagine, and that's why I'm curious, and I think we must follow up with this. If we keep seeing these sort of flooding areas in KZN, what happens to insurance premiums as well? So, but I appreciate Christelle Colman's time this morning.
All right.